is off. No, we can't for the live stream. And if we didn't have the live stream, we'd be in the round and all that stuff. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to Center for Spiritual Living Morristown. I'm Frankie Timmers, the spiritual director here. And for those of you that are here in our physical space, it looks a little bit different because we're having a sound bath afterwards with Kat, and she's already set all that up beautifully. So that's going to happen later. I will say this a few times. Registrations are closed. I want you all to guess how many people we can fit in this room lying down. 13, 25.
22.
Close, about 20. And we have 20 registrations, so there's no room for more. Unless people want to just be in the hallway, you know, we can make that work. But that was the best part about our other space, right? We never had to have a cutoff. So I'll remind everyone for that. Thank you, everybody who's online, whether it's today or any time in the future. We're so glad that you're checking in with us because we have a celebration, and we're celebrating a brand new year. And for those of you that don't know, we have this lovely journal that goes with the whole year's theme, which is a grand rising. And it has the monthly themes. This month's theme I changed to celebrate beginner's mind, which I'll occasionally do. And then the topics are not the same. I usually I burst with creativity, so I have my own ideas and I just bring those, but we're following the theme for the year. And Science of Mind magazine just came in. It came in late, and it's now 2 months at a time. Bloop, bloop. January, February, which is so cool. So we're selling those. And if anybody wants to find out anything about us, there's lots of great information on the web. And if there's more that you want, you can get a weekly email. But you must sign up for that, and you can do that over there, or just let me know, and we'll make sure you're signed up for that. So we have a practice called the Namaste practice. Namaste is the Sanskrit word for the divinity in me, blesses the divinity in you. So put your hands together and bless someone. Say Namaste. 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 Namaste, y'all. Namaste. Did you remember to also receive what is given to you? Of course. Right? So we give, Namaste, and then we receive. So that's an incredible blessing and a very rich moment to just allow that divine flow of giving, receiving to happen in a more conscious way because it's happening all the time. So let's treat our word for affirmative prayer. I invite you to close your eyes just to have a moment of withdrawing your attention from the outer and bringing it to your inner experience, knowing that there is really only one divine energy, one power, one presence, and it looks like many. It looks like infinite, but that infinite is a happening at this level of oneness, at the level of cause, at the level of truth. And each of us is at the receiving end of this infinite, unconditional love, wisdom, creativity, joy, whatever else we call it. And so today we remember to receive graciously and generously, so that every breath becomes a reminder of spirit within. And the word breath and spirit are so powerfully connected. And so we set our intention today to receive our breath, to receive spirit in a deeper, richer, broader way. And we allow it to fall on the fertile soil of our consciousness, especially the places where we forget the truth of our being. And that is very telling because those are the places where we experience a disconnect, a separation, suffering. So those are simply reminders to take that breath and to remember who, whose, and what we truly are. So we are blessed to know this now, to hear this now, to remember this now. And we let that blessing just spill over and spill over and spill over into the world beyond, Especially when we open our eyes, we can see where we're sending it. And we remember that this is a gift that we can give to those around us and to the world. The gift of our own conscious awareness that we are individualized expressions of the One. That is a healing thing that is happening right here and right now. And truly every right here and right now. And so for that we're grateful. For this spiritual community we're grateful. For this beautiful teaching called The Science of Mind, we are grateful. And so it is.
And so it is.
So Laurie is assisting me today, and she's bringing some of her beautiful poetry and a little spiritual practice. And Laurie is always available after celebration, any assisting practitioner, for what we call a treatment express. So if you're in need of prayer, and if you're in need of a spiritual mind treatment, it's like a quickie thing so you understand what it means to ask and to receive. And then if you need more, be sure to reach out to any of our practitioners. The list is on the bulletin board, and there's flyers there you can take. You can find it on the website. So Laurie is a kick-ass treater, as we all know. So we get to say that word, right?
Yeah.
And she'll be available for that after celebration. Briefly, because at 12:40 we'll have a little social hour, and then at 12:45 the sound bath starts. A reminder again, if you have not registered, there's no more room. We are full, and next time we'll do even better reminding everybody what that looks like. So my topic today is There Is a Way. And last week we had snow, so we didn't meet here, and I got to do my talk online, which is always very different. I love seeing your faces and experiencing your energy. It's always a very different thing. But what we are doing in January, and that's why we call it Celebrating Beginner's Mind, is this idea that the first 4 chapters of the Science of Mind textbook are the basic teachings. And I'm going to just grab this for a minute, because this is probably my 6th textbook. I go through them
The Bible.
all the time, our Bible. But there's also this little bitty thing that I really love. This is probably my 4th one, which is just this little book about, it has the first 4 chapters in it. So I love doing that in January, because I don't know about you, but after 40 years in this teaching, I'm still learning new things.
Yeah.
I'm still learning ways to understand it more deeply, to discover the gems, to open to my own experience, because every time we read the same phrase or the same chapter, we're a different person. So we see something different, we hear something different. And so the first chapter is called The Thing Itself, which for many people is your favorite word for God. What is your favorite word for God?
Love.
Love, Spirit,
Universe.
universe,
All it is.
all that is,
The all in all.
the all in all. Yeah,
Infinite
so
wisdom.
there are infinite wisdom source. There you go, Elaine. So here's a student, right? The first chapter in the Science of Mind textbook, there is about 26 names. So either you're really shy shouting out these names, or you don't know yet. And what's incredibly important, and I say this almost every week, is that you find a name that makes you want to go, ah! That gives you an orgasm. Mental, emotional, spiritual. For some of you, maybe physical. But I know that when I use a word for God that makes my heart sing, I'm going to have a completely different experience in that moment. In my body, in my mind, in my heart, in my soul. So I encourage you to think of a name that makes your heart sing. Call it green pickles. I don't care if you love green pickles, right? So it's very important, because in our teaching, it doesn't have to be a name that is imposed upon you, that you are told to use. So it is the first thing we do in prayer and spiritual mind treatment. We recognize what that thing is. We describe that name that we give it from the highest point of view. And so We say one life, universal presence, the infinite wisdom, all those names that you shouted out, and then there's even more names than that. There's an infinite amount of names. And it doesn't stop there. So then we get the second chapter. And the second chapter of the Science of Mind textbook is
How it works?
the way it works. The way it works. If you think about that, it's chapter 1, the creator, chapter 2, creation. So there's something that happens to get from creator to creation. What happens between creator and creation is the process. And that is not just true for the universe, that's true for each and every one of us. That when we have a clear understanding of what creator is in our heart of hearts, and we look at creation, our own experience and life around us, there is something happening that makes this that. There's something that happens when you think about the highest idea of God and your relationship to it, and understanding how that happens, then you have everything you need to create the life that you want to create.
Amen.
To experience the life you want to experience. So that's why we do this studying and this discovering and taking the classes, because what happens is we notice what's in the way. We notice the obstacles in the way, and the only obstacles in the way are inner obstacles. You might think it's your age, you might think it's your spouse, you might think it's the political process in the United States, you might think it's a particular person in those politics, you might think it's your health, you might think it's the money you have in the bank, you might think it's your relationship. It's never, ever that. That is just the outcome of your and my experience between creator, source of my being, creation, my life, my experience, and how I am seeing that, feeling that, understanding that, what I believe about that, and how I use that. That's why I am still here in this teaching 40 some years later, because I haven't found anything else that works better, that makes more sense. And so, yes, I can watch this video, listen to that person, listen to that book, listen to that podcast, but nothing ever makes more sense to me personally than that. And so the whole idea is that there's a universal thing happening, and there's a personal, individual thing happening for each of us. We think they're disconnected, but they're profoundly and deeply connected. And that's why we explore and discover and think about and own those experiences. Because the process of the way is really how you and I are taking in this basic wisdom, this truth that is available to each and every one of us to be used, to be lived, to be experienced. And so what happens for most people, I think if I asked each of you, you would have an example. Most people, when we arrive at this thing called spiritual life or science of mind or spiritual awakening, is that some kind of shit has hit the fan in your life. Or you're not satisfied. You feel this dissatisfaction and something isn't working, and you go around saying, is that all there is? Or you might even get depressed and worried and anxious. I mean, there's lots of reasons to feel that right now with the world that we live in, right? But remember, it's all connected. It's all for us to see a greater, higher truth and to live that, to embody that. But most of the time, when people come in, they're lost. They have an issue going on. They have a wake-up call. They have a health crisis, a financial crisis, a relationship crisis. And then they arrive at the door of spirituality, where they go, there's got to be something else. There has to be something more. That is the first thing that happens. Like, we wake up, we become more aware. And it's in that becoming aware that we begin our search. And it's in taking that search, taking those steps, that we come home to ourselves. Because home base is your experience of spirit. Home base is the truth of your very being, your essence. It's not all the melodrama that's happening around. It's the very truth, your experience of the Creator, your bigger self, your bigger life, your soul awakening. And so that's when this shift happens. So in a way, when we did the burning bowl ceremony a couple of weeks ago, what you guys wrote down, because we wrote down something we wanted to release and leave in 2023, I asked you to remember that. Because I told you, it's going to slap you in the face by next year. Right? So if some of you wrote down, I'm releasing fear, I'm releasing sadness about a broken relationship, I'm releasing anxiety, it's probably been in your face since December 31st. Mine was. Of course it is. Because once we set an intention to release something, the universe says, oh yeah? Let's see. Right? And so it's kind of a way of saying, what do I really believe about these spiritual principles? What do I really know about what is the truth? And it's not just some from here up, or because you heard it or read it in a book. No, it has to become embodied. And so in the embodiment, we get to be aware and notice what gets in the way, and then we work with that. And we say, oh, thank you, universe, for reminding me I haven't yet released it. I have a little more work to do. And so then the next thing that we did on December 31st is we wrote down what we would love to see happen in the world. We wrote down what our prayer is for the world. And we hung them over there. If I would take all those scrolls and open them up and read them, and I've sat here and treated for all that, and at some point I will do that, because then they become real prayer requests for me. But the truth of it is, they are also daily prayer requests for you. So some of you may have written down healing of the planet, or healing in the world, or a healing around our politics. So you don't have to answer that, but I truly have faith that you prayed for this every single day since December 31st. My guess is you didn't, or may not have. Because that is still a practice. So how long do we practice this stuff?
Forever.
Until it demonstrates. Not forever, until it demonstrates. And what we do is, like, as we're praying for that or treating for that, we notice what still gets in the way, right? So I might treat for the healing of the planet, and all of a sudden I read an article that there is a lot more biofuel being used. Yay, it demonstrated. But what about this and that and here and there? Okay, back to the home base, treating for this prayer to demonstrate in greater yet greater ways. And we treat until it demonstrates, we pray until it demonstrates. So one of the reasons I'm saying all this and I'm so passionate about it is because the theme for the year is a grand rising. That just means that you and I, and anyone else on a spiritual path, has a responsibility. And the responsibility is to heal all that stuff that gets in the way of our true nature. And it's not about shame. It's like, hey, you're not doing it right, or what's wrong with your consciousness. It's that we quietly and lovingly and compassionately and patiently keep practicing. Keep rising up from the truth of our very being, releasing all that gets in the way with all the tools available. And where do we start? Right here, right now. And every right here and right now. Every moment is an opportunity to start anew, to start fresh. One of my teachers online is Richard Rohr. He's a wonderful Franciscan priest, and I love everything he writes. And he says the only way out and through any dualism is a kind of universal forgiveness of reality for being what it is. And how many of us struggle with reality the way it is? And we do whatever we can to get away from it. Oh, to not pay attention to it, not listen to it, not look at it, right? Whether it's personal or collective. And yet, that's where we begin to practice forgiveness and letting go. Because the way it works, chapter 2 in the Science of Mind textbook, is it works through us. It works through creation, universally. But individually, it works through us. And in our teaching, we call that universal law, capital L. Some of you know our symbol. It's over there in that beautiful stained glass thing that Kathy Gregoire made for me, where the symbol of our teaching is a circle that represents the universe. Of course, it looks like a closed circle. It really isn't. And then there's 3 levels of that, which represent spirit, soul or law, and body. Sometimes we say God, the way it works, or our own belief system, and then what we demonstrate. Those of you who are gardeners, how many gardeners in the room? A few. Or farmers, the way they think is seed, soil, plant. That's the easiest way to explain it, especially if you're a new student. When I put a seed in the ground, let's say I put a tomato seed in the ground, I'm going to get cucumbers, right?
No.
Squash? Peppers? Isn't it interesting how we all immediately go, duh, no brainer. But when it comes to using spiritual principles, we just confuse ourselves. Because we plant seeds of fear and we expect abundance. We plant seeds of self-hatred, judgment, and we expect it to be accepted and respected, right? It's the same thing. We plant the seeds, the soil is our consciousness, and it's how the law works, and the plant is the outcome. And so there's a whole thing that we can work with that, and that's why I recommend you all take Susan's class, because she's going to teach a beginner's class called Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life, which is saying by Ernest Holmes. It's online, so you can be naked, you can wear your pajamas, you can do whatever you want from your home. And she's a wonderful, wonderful teacher. She's a licensed practitioner at Center for Spiritual Living, Princeton. And her class starts on February 5th. I recommend you register, which, by the way, registration is kind of a thing these days. In advance is really helpful. Had to put that one in there. All right, so the way then those 3 things work is if you think seed, soil, plant, think seed as I am, capital letters, which is really our true name. Mm-hmm. And then think of the way, the Tao, the movement, my belief system, the law, demonstrating what it is that I believe I am to my experience. Right. Your and my life experience is solely based on consciousness. Consciousness is the sum total of everything you believe, have thought, have experienced, all that stuff. All our deeper knowing, our more shallow knowing, our in the middle knowing. And so we demonstrate our own belief system, our own consciousness. Now, I don't know anybody yet that goes around and says, you know, I think I'm going to be really poor and experience lack because I'm that evolved. Or I think I'm going to really experience sucky relationships. Or I'm going to experience poor health. None of us do that consciously, but our experiences tell us what we believe about that. And it's just the universe saying, it doesn't judge, it's unconditional love. It's the universe saying, here, let me show you what it is that you believe about yourself and your life, so that if there's something that you'd like to change, you can, by means of the power of your own mind. And so for us as individuals, we experience the way, and we don't know really what it is. It's kind of a mystery. But we know how it works by means of creation, by means of our lives. And when we expand that view, we can see it working everywhere. I mean, I don't really wonder whether summer is next, or fall, or last season was spring. I just know it is winter, spring, summer, fall. Never any other way. That's one way that the universal law works in a grander scheme. It's utterly predictable, it's mechanical, it's always working, and it is there for us. And so we personalize this idea by using the law, and I love what the master teacher Jesus said, because he really sums up the science of mind teaching. The master teacher Jesus says, it's done unto you as
You believe.
Yeah, you don't believe that, right?
No, I do.
Your life shows where you believe that and where you don't, which is really great, because I can look at my life and say, well, I believe it here, but over there, not so much, not yet. So I can just relax and work with the law and work the principle of this teaching to shift that perception. And it may take me a lifetime, but every little bit of inner work I do is going to expand that experience and heal my life. Healing just means becoming whole, or remembering our own wholeness. Doesn't mean cure. And so all this is called New Thought. The cool thing about New Thought is that there's nothing new. Nothing. Even Ernest Holmes says, there's nothing new in this teaching. It's really ancient wisdom. It has existed since the beginning of time. The early Christian mystics, which is not the beginning of time, but kind of the beginning of religion, right? They said that as within, so without. Perfectly beautiful example of how the principle works. What goes around comes around. Another example, a little bit more contemporary, right? And then there's involution becomes evolution. What you sow is
What you read.
Okay, here's 4 examples that we can all really look at and explore and discover and use and say, that is so interesting. I just had a huge conflict with my beloved. I'm just making this up. It didn't really happen. I just had a huge conflict with my beloved, with my sister, my brother, Let me think about that. Let me see what it is that I believe. Because our tendency is, right? We get mad and we get frustrated and we try to fix it and we try to fix them, and we have all these feelings and all these ideas, which is all good because it can really awaken us to what we're experiencing. But there comes a moment where we step back and we say, let me see. Done unto me as I believe. It's my belief system. Something is there for me to see in a different way, in a different light. There's something within me that can have a deeper understanding and maybe some solutions, some clarity that I can apply. And so on, and so on, and so on. So I want to kind of wrap this up by bringing 3 ideas, 3 R's. There's a lot of R's. When you're really studying our teaching, there's a ton of R words. But I'm going to share 3 R words that we can really embody, and you can think about it as the symbol. The thing on the top is to recognize. Recognition is really 2 words. Re in Latin means again. Cognize is to know. There's so many things for you and I to recognize, to know again and again and again and again. You know how sometimes we say, well, I know that, but you're not living it, well, then you don't know it. Because if you really know it, it's embodied and it's lived. It's not even thought about. It's just who we are, right? And so to recognize what? To recognize who and what you really are. To recognize that your beliefs create your experience. To recognize that there's something to be healed and that it can be healed. To recognize just means that I am willing to be more aware. I'm willing to understand. I'm willing to know what it is that I believe. I'm willing to work with the beliefs that don't serve me anymore and to change the ones that do, or change them into ones that do. So it's really about revelation. Right? And then the second R is to receive. To really receive the internal, eternal, universal wisdom that is infinite, everywhere present, in everyone and everything, and to really receive it. Remember when I shared earlier with the Namaste, did you just give it, Namaste, or did you also receive it? We have, most of us, an easier time giving than we do receiving. Because what happens is with receiving, it bumps into our own limited beliefs about who and what we are. And so the idea is to become more and more aware of that. It's like, oh, I'm a little resistant to love. I'm a little resistant to patience. I'm a little resistant to these principles. A little resistance to applying them because I don't quite believe, or I'm a little resistant because I don't feel worthy. That's important information. To notice your own resistance to the very truth of being. And so it's in the resistance that we can make decisions to release that, to keep releasing it, keep releasing it. It doesn't have to be heavy-duty work. Make it like untethered, just keep releasing it, keep releasing it. That's what we did with the burning bowl ceremony, right? We released something. And then the third R is to remember. Because what's the opposite of remembering? Forgetting. I forget that I am love, that I am spirit, that I am whole, perfect, and complete. About 5,000 times a day, more or less. It's very human. It's very much a part of our experience. But the thing is, we don't realize all the time that we forget until it's that slap in the face, right? And so that's a reminder to just remember who and what we really are. There's a lovely poem by Jalaluddin Rumi, the 12th century Persian poet. He says, I sometimes forget that I was created for joy. I sometimes forget I was created for joy. My mind is too busy. My heart is too heavy for me to remember that I've been called to dance the sacred dance of life. I was created to smile, to love, to be lifted up, and to lift others up. Oh, sacred one, untangle my feet from all that trap. Free my soul, that we might dance, and that our dancing might be infectious.
Oh, I love it.
Isn't that great? I just found that one. So, dancing through life means just letting a lot go, right? Because it is a dance. And that's why we call this year a grand rising. Because when we keep dancing, we rise, we lift, we awaken, we surrender, we relax, we trust. And it's really up to you and I, isn't it? We make it so. And because you and I are on the spiritual path, we can contribute that healing and trust that we are together creating a world that works for everyone. So I have a song for you, and I want you to close your eyes for a moment. But before you close your eyes, I want to also remind you that tonight we have a first restorative yoga class with Hannah. You have to register. You have to email her or call her for the Zoom link. She will send it to you. I'm expecting a bunch of texts at 5 minutes to 7 that say, where's the Zoom link? My phone will be off because I'm getting ready to do yoga with Hannah. And it's restorative yoga from 7 to 8. You're just lying down, doing a little bit of stretching, which isn't that great after the sound bath today with Kat? And again, a reminder, if you didn't register for the sound bath, there's no more room. The room is full. There's 2 people that signed up personally with a check. You know who you are, but the room is full. So those of you that did register on Breeze, we will come around to register you and ask you to sign a release form. And then Lori and Lori and I are gonna set it up here so that we can squeeze as many people as possible. And those who registered late, we're gonna figure a way to be in the hallway, okay? So I think that's all I wanted to tell you. Yes, let's have some music. I invite you to close your eyes and to let this music just wash over you, so that this can prepare you for Lori's poem and guided meditation.
And held my defenses in front of me, not knowing my heart was imprisoned, till you gave me wisdom to find the key. I'm ready to begin. I'm open and love's coming in when you move through me, when you move through me. You give me the confidence to take back my innocence. When you move through me, when you move through me, you give me the confidence to take back my innocence.
So I'm going to share a poem with you that is about the way it works. It's from 2018. So I wrote this poem when I was first studying Science of Mind. And it just really resonates with the talk and with what I'm going to share as a guided meditation after. So it's an older style poem, but here it is. It's called On Mental Science. Words in all their accented power and overblown lecture glory. It's not unique, this message. It's in the telling of the story. Difficult sometimes to follow, the language so dense and unclear. A presentation of concepts, mostly ageless, but scientifically presented here. That we are all part of a universal one. Call it what you will. That our thoughts and beliefs determine our struggle with getting our fill of life, of love, of abundance, of all that we dream of and desire. That as we hold an absolute idea in spirit, the universe conspires, and by the power of the law, universal mind must produce the results there planted, if in this we trust. And if we treat and trust absolutely without wavering, then reciprocal action tells us soon the fruits will be savoring. For though we don't control the details, the how and the when, if we just believe truly, do our part, let go, then those ways and means, intuitive moments come together just as they are needed. And with confident, grateful, joyous expectancy, we await what has been seeded. So without a lot of big words, subjective mind just needs to be told exactly what I desire. And then I trust in the law and watch it unfold. And though hampered by old beliefs, conditioning, race thoughts, and such, if I treat, do spiritual practices, and study this teaching, there's much that can be overcome by clear understanding, leading to a belief that's true. So that changing my thinking, and therefore my belief, is the answer. That's what I must do. When it comes to healing oneself, this is where I see it most clear. For the old ideas of sickness come with family traditions, some dear. And to let them go and keep always the prototype of being perfect, whole, and complete takes a change in thinking that may require repeated treatment and growing belief to meet. But if all is idea, all is energy, all is love, then all is God to me. And so I continue learning, trusting, and growing in this teaching to become more authentically me. To love, to be love, to share love, and do it with joy and trust so complete that I am one with you, one with divine mind. All I desire is mine. I do so treat. Knowing that the only limitations are within me, my own inner doubts or fears, I relinquish all past thoughts and move into a future now made clear. So with will directed to a purpose that has an intention of pure love and pure good, I rest easy in the knowing that all things are happening for me as they should. For the law cannot do other, and universal mind is for me just God by another name. So with greater understanding, I surrender to that force that treats us all the same. I know now that all my desires are there for me to celebrate and enjoy, soon due to arrive on this material plane, just as I feel them and just as I do believe. For the universal mind and the law can do nothing but follow through on whatever I conceive and bring into fruition whatever I've planted. So if I've done my thought work well, then it is done, it is enough, and no further doubts in my heart shall dwell. And so it is. So that was from 2018, before I had an inkling of becoming a practitioner. I didn't even call myself a poet then. I mean, I wrote poetry, but in my mind, in my consciousness, I didn't call myself a poet. So here's the thing. I was open to possibility. The way it works, the way the law works, is that I may not have had a clear vision at that time, but I was open to what Reverend Frankie saw in me. I kept taking classes. I kept writing poetry. I kept doing my spiritual practices. And that led to a greater expression of who I am now, right? Of being a practitioner. Most of you know, I've just had 2 poems published this year. My first published poem. So, but here's the thing. The law works on what, the law is always working, but it works on what I believe. So I didn't used to believe I was a good poet. Now I'm owning that. And so my intention for the next year is to get a book published, not just a poem somebody else wrote, but my own book. And here's where we can all use the law, and this is the little guided meditation that I'm going to take you on. Whatever it is that you desire, upscale it. Because you have limiting beliefs that are part of your subconscious that you don't even really realize, right? We remember, we forget. And the law is only going to bring you that which you really, truly believe. So the practice then is to know this or better. That's what we say in this teaching, right? Yeah. This or better. There is an infinite world of possibility that you don't see yet. I am envisioning walking down the street, coming upon a bookstore and seeing my book in the window. I never had that vision before. So this is how I am upscaling my belief. I am planting that vision, that seed in my consciousness. So what is it going to be for you? So I invite you to close your eyes and to join me in going within. Just take a breath and totally settle into this moment. Feel your cheekbones on the chair. Feel your feet touching the ground. And just totally come into presence. Right here, right now. Taking a breath and just acknowledging the law. As much as you understand it or don't understand it, just take a breath right now. And on the exhale, surrender. Surrender to a greater understanding of the law that is always demonstrating based upon your belief. Breathe in a greater understanding of that law. And exhaling out anything that stands in the way of what you desire to demonstrate in your life. Breathing in, we make space for a greater expression. And breathing out, we release whatever stands in the way. At least whatever we're aware of standing in the way. This is a practice because more and more things will come up. But the first thing is choose something. Choose something that you desire. Maybe it's better health. Maybe it's more abundance. Whatever it is for you, Choose that now and breathe in a greater expression of that. More than you could ever have imagined. And exhale out anything that stands in the way and limits your belief. So perhaps if it's greater health, better health, you want to be able to play with your grandchildren or whatever it is. What about if you woke up in the morning so full of vitality that you jumped out of bed? So full of energy and enthusiasm for the day because your health was just absolutely over the top. How would that feel? Take a breath, and on the inhale, try to feel that in every cell of your being. And then exhale out that voice that Reverend Frankie always says, yeah, in a pig's eye. Exhale out that voice. Exhale out that doubt that that is possible for you. Exhale out anything, any belief you have around your age, your situation, your condition, anything that limits you from opening to the possibility of feeling that way, of feeling the way we just described. And then on the next breath, come back into that feeling, waking up with joy, with vitality, with exuberance for life, because you are so in a state of complete and perfect health. And exhaling out any thinking, any thought, any doubt, any ache, any pain, anything that gets in the way. Just letting it go. Knowing that the law is always operating, but it operates on your beliefs, whether you're aware of them or not. And so the practice is to return your attention again and again to what it is that you truly desire. This or greater, this or better. And to open yourself at the top to believe that you are worthy to receive. You are able to receive this or better. Breathing in. Again, that grander vision for yourself. Feel it fill up your every cell and light you up. And breathing out whatever thought, belief stands in the way. That little voice of doubt. Let it go. Let it go. And then what's an inspired action you can take to help you on this journey towards this greater good? Because you know in this teaching we treat and move our feet. So while we plant this seed of a greater vision, of a greater good, we allow it to unfold in the law, but we take action. So what is one little thing you can do on a daily basis to create, to allow for the law to demonstrate this in your world? Perhaps it's just spending a few minutes envisioning this every day, having the discipline to do that. Perhaps it's walking, taking a few steps more every day. Perhaps it's choosing to stand up instead of sit down, just for a few moments, whatever small action it is for you. For me, it's going to be sit down and actually write diligently every day. But whatever it is that you can do to show the universal law that you are committed, that you believe, right? It is done unto you as you believe. So when you take a small action in the direction of your dreams, the universe sees that. The universal law sees that and opens doors that you would not have believed could be opened or you had not even foreseen. And so, I invite you now to really internalize and embody that feeling of the greater vision in your body, in your mind, in your spirit. Feel that. And take it with you today. Take it with you as you go out into your day and revisit it daily, to really cement it in your mind, to really plant that seed and allow the law to work. You must believe. So choose to believe in your greatest good, in the highest vision, and take some small step towards showing the universe that you do believe and you are willing to commit. And on your next breath, maybe move your fingers and toes, situate yourself in your seat, come back into the room. But come back with that place within you, that expanded vision, alive. And know that you can go back there at any moment with a gentle pause and a breath. It is always available to you. And when you are ready, you can open your eyes and rejoin us in the room. And now I want you to look around at everyone else and see their greatest good. See them as they shine brighter than they did before, because they are all filled with that vision of their greatest good and that higher vision. Now, from that place of higher vision, it's funny how it works this way, it's time for our committed offering. So I invite you to give from that place of your highest vision, from that place of your greater good, from knowing that this community supports and uplifts you and fills your... Oh, and it's snowing outside. Oh my God. Look at that. I open my eyes and it is snowing. Beautiful. So from that place within you that is fed by this community, I invite you to give generously, to give joyously, to give knowing that the law of circulation says, as you give, so you
Receive.
There you go. So if you want to receive more and have your greatest good demonstrate, best way to do that is to give more. You give from a place of joy and gratitude, and just allow that to be the energy that with which you give your gift. You can text to give. There's a Venmo code up here. There's a basket. I don't see it here, but I think it's going around. Oh, here it is. Okay, I'll pass the basket. If you want to fill out an envelope, just take one and keep it moving. And I invite you to place your hands over your heart and to repeat this affirmation. I'm not going to use that. And repeat this affirmation, this abundance affirmation with me. I give my gift freely.
I give my gift freely.
From a place of gratitude and joy.
From a place of gratitude and joy.
I know that as I give,
I know that.
As I give,
so I receive.
so I receive,
Multiplied abundantly.
multiplied abundantly.
And so I give with joy.
So I give with joy,
I give with gratitude.
I give with gratitude,
And I give from a place of generosity.
and I give from a place of generosity.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Okay, so Reverend Frankie said I will be available for Treatment Express after service. I also have one announcement. Reverend Janice has said that she does our year-end, she does our financial stuff. And so if you need, or she's sending out the contribution statements for the end of 2023. So if you have moved or changed your email address, please let her know so that she can get you a physical copy of your contributions for the year, for your taxes, and yeah, I think that's it, right, Reverend Frankie? Yeah, so anyway, please make sure that your information is updated so that you can get your tax information. And then we are going to close out with a closing treatment or an affirmative prayer to just cement in all of the good of this beautiful community, this beautiful day, going out into our beautiful sound bath after this. So I invite you once again to close your eyes and to join me in this word of affirmation, in this sacred, sacred word. And so, knowing that there is only one, that there is one life, one love, one blessed community here, one power and presence of which we are all a part, one law that demonstrates in each of our lives, that creates the world in which we live. I know that it exists in, as, and through me and through each of us. We are all just vessels, channels of this divine energy, of this love. And so I affirm for each one here and each one listening that we open ourselves to receive our greater good, that we participate in the unfoldment of life to an extent that is beyond our wildest imaginings, because we live in the realm of infinite possibilities. We know that there is no limit to spirit. And so I see and envision and hold the consciousness of the greatest good for each one and for this beautiful community as we stand together in love and light and laughter. As we come together in community, we are part of a world that works for everyone. And so as we give of ourselves and share of our vision and do our spiritual practices, we get to be a part of that change. We are the change. Embrace that today. And so with gratitude for every moment that I get to spend in prayer, in community with all of you, with gratitude for this beautiful teaching, for Reverend Frankie, for our leadership council, for everyone who participates, I say thank you. From that deep place within me that knows the divine, I let it go with gratitude and grace into that law, that loving law that does unto me as I believe. So I let it go with deep faith and conviction. I let it go. I let it be. And so it is.
I am